welcome to Michaela Makes. I'm going to be working on the Dear Jane quilt. This is going to be the first block, A1, which is called Pinwheel Gone Awry. I'll try to show you it, see if I can get up close. That's what we're going to be doing. So I'm going to work on that today. I'm also going to talk about some just general tips and tricks that I've been using doing EPP, and especially fussy cutting, which I know for this quilt it's probably not as important, but I think it's something to consider because the fabrics are so beautiful. Sometimes if you just cut, you don't get maybe the flowers that you wanted or whatever the pattern is. So I'm going to just talk about how I do the fussy cutting. I will be fussy cutting everything that I can, and I will also be glue basting, and I'm using the acrylic templates. So I'll show all of that here in a minute. I'm going to switch over to my overhead and my work surface behind me and get started. I went through the Dear Jane book just for row 1, and I marked from the notes that we got, I marked the pages that have blocks that have been changed, so I don't have to keep looking at that. I'm worrying that I'm working on one that has been modified for EPP. But again, we're doing A1, this little pinwheel. So I got out all of the pieces, and I just counted how many big triangles are going to be color and how many little. So I got those off to the side, and the rest will be white. So I've got those in a stack by themselves. And what I'm going to do first for mine, because I am going to be hand quilting as I go, I am going to first, whenever possible, I want the back to do the same color grade as the front. So first from each, I'm going to cut a 5-inch square. So that'll give me some wiggle room around the 4.5-inch square that that each block will be. So my first plan of action here is to get a 5-inch square cut off of this, and then I can start figuring out how I want to cut for the pieces. So let me get that piece done. And I don't often use a rotary cutter when I'm cutting for EPP, and the reason is a lot of times you kind of overcut, or you do this, what I'm doing, and you undercut. And Liberty does have a tendency to, have little string that holds on a little bit tighter than other kinds of cotton. So anyway, I tend to not use a rotary cutter. I'm not saying don't, but I'll show you what I do, and maybe it'll work for you. So that now is the back of my unit for when I hand quilt. And I have ordered a bamboo silk blend as my batting. I like it because of the way it drapes. It's thinner, and I think that matches well with Liberty. I used it on the color wash quilt. I don't know if you saw the first video, the unboxing. I used it in that, and it's beautiful and super warm because of the silk and bamboo. It's lovely. So that's my backing. On to my pieces. So if you look at this and you're thinking, oh, I'm just going to cut it, you totally can. You can just cut it. It's not a big deal. But I'm going to try to get a few of these flowers that I really, really like to be in my square. So I'm just kind of demoing a little bit what size might work. So it looks like that's going to be a good one. This flower here. I kind of think all of them. Now remember, it's going to be bigger than this. It has to have that seam allowance. So what I'm going to use, I did get the templates. I'm going to check to see what size this needs to be. And I'm looking at the cardboard itself, the paper piece, And this template gives me a 1/4 inch, excuse me, here, and I can see about where I'm going to have to be for 1/4 inch on the back side. So even though this template, this acrylic template, isn't specific for this shape, it's geometry, so we can figure this out with a few simple tools. So I'm going to go with this. I often use a wet erase, not a dry erase, a wet erase marker to mark what size I should be looking at when I'm looking for options. And the reason I'm using wet erase is that it's not going to be wiped off by my hands or my touching it. It needs just a wet paper towel to remove it. So this is a really good option. So I just turned my second camera on because I think we can get a little bit more up close with some of this, like the template and some of the pieces. Again, I'm just going to take a look, and I guess audition would be the word, which flowers would fit into the frame, right? Knowing that everything outside in the margin will be tucked under the piece and won't be visible in the end. And I think, especially with this one, there's some really good options for fussy cutting, so I'm going to do that. Now, I don't, again, I said I don't really like to use my rotary cutter on the fabric itself. Typically what I do is I find what I want. In this case, I really like these little pink flowers, and this is just a pastel chalk pencil, nothing special at craft store anywhere, and I mark with this, and it comes off very easily, and it's going to be in the, you know, underneath the cardboard, so the template. So I'm just marking that, and once I have that, I'm gonna eyeball here. That looks about right, and that's what my view was. And then I'm just going to use this again on the bottom to give me that 1/4 inch. Doesn't need to be perfect. We're not, you know, what goes behind the template isn't as important as what you see on the front. So that's going to be one of mine. I'd like to get sets of 2 since I've got 8. Since I have 8 of these, I'd like to get sets of 2 if I can. Given that I've cut this hunk out, I need to take a look at that. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, so I'm going to put on some fancy music while I go through and select what I'm going to be cutting. It's funny, I think anybody who sews knows a 1/4 inch, so, you know, eyeballing it also works. You know, can eyeball this 1/4 inch seam allowance without using these templates. You know, it's just the templates just end up being a little bit handy, right, for ease of seeing what it is I'm trying to get at. And this, I think, is going to work good. Hopefully you're able to see some of this. I just need to get, that was 4. Maybe I'll just fussy cut for the center pinwheel, and then the rest could be whatever. Maybe that's what I'll do. Let's see if I do 1, 2, I could do this one, and maybe this one. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. If I could get them up here, I could do a strip here. So I'm just talking through the best use of the fabric. So if I can get all 4 that I want up in this area, then I could, you know, have this piece here cut into squares and then subcut into triangle with a big enough margin, which I think will be the best use of the fabric now that I've gone about and seen all this, which is the best thing about this. I didn't make a cut. Had I made cuts already, I would have been totally committed to what I'm doing. In this case, as I'm working with the fabric, you're kind of studying it in a way, and you can figure out then from there, you know, what really will work. And I have changed my mind, so not that that's shocking. Probably to anybody who's doing these kind of things, we look at it and change our minds, and that's okay. So I am definitely going to get my 4 pretty ones from here. That's going to be the inside of my pinwheel, and then I'm going to use the remainder of the fabric to just get triangles. And this chalk will come off with a little damp paper towel, so I'm not worried about that. Let me get my 4th here. This one, I want to use this one badly, but it feels a little too dense. Like maybe we wouldn't see any of the dark fabric, which is what we want in this color wash. So I'm hedging on this a little, and I feel like I need to do something a little less dense. So I'm gonna go here, and you're probably going, why is she just, you know, 1/4 inch is not, you visualize it easily, right? So again, don't feel like you have to have special tools to do this. 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 4. I think that'll be pretty. And then over here, I'm gonna measure what size this is and use one of my squares to, let's see what we have here. So to me it looks like if I do it, if I do a 2-inch square, I also could get away with, looks to me, a 1.5 might do it. So again, it's all about trying to do that. For me, what's the easiest thing? I don't want to make a mistake on this pretty fabric, but at the same time, I would like to make this easy. So I just want to double check this. I'll move into frame a little bit better. Sorry about that. I go here. So those are my pieces. I'm going to give myself my 1/4 inch at the bottom and 1/4 inch here. I can get away with 1 3/4 inch squares cut in half. So for that, I probably would use a rotary cutter. 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are out of the way. I just want to double check I need 1 3/4, and I need just 2, right? 2 squares. Because that'll make 4, and that'll be 8, and then I'm done. Oh, okay. Well, I'll rotary cut that. I go 1, 2. Now I'm talking myself back into fussy cutting. Do I have enough room? I do. Oh gosh, guys, this is the hard part. Decisions. Making the decisions. I've got 1 here, 1 here. got my 4 over here. I could pick up one more and one more. I think I'm doing it. Doggone it. I'm probably the only person who does this crazy list, but I feel like I want to really optimize this super pretty fabric, so I'm going for it. I'm just doing it. It'll be okay. And the funny thing is, absolutely no one who looks at this block will know that I did this, except for me. That said, that's exactly why I'm doing it. This is a lot of work, right? We are hand piecing, hand sewing. I'm going to be hand quilting. This is a lot of work, so why not? How many times are you going to have the opportunity to make an entire quilt out of Liberty this way? The other one that I made was just done on the machine. I did 4.5-inch squares and just sewed them together, you know, traditional sewing. And then I sent it off to my long armor because it was so big. 1, 2, double checking again. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 4. There's my 8. And then I need my little babies, these little guys, which there's only 4 of them. And they're so tiny. They're so cute. Oh my gosh. Look at that little guy. So I could probably do, what, a 1-inch. I don't know if you can see me over here. I'm fussing over here. Could probably do a 1-inch. You don't need that much on this little guy. It'll overwhelm it and then it'll get so bulky. So if I do 2 little 1-inch squares, I'll be in good shape. And it doesn't really matter from where. Gosh, I keep wanting to do a flower. I'm gonna go a little bit more generous than 1 inch. I can always cut it down more. And then I'll do one more. Oh gosh, I'm trying to avoid the flowers now, even though I don't want to. No, it's not gonna fit there anyway. I'll wait till I cut some of these out and I'll finish that one. Sorry, I'm looking for my scissors. So I just use scissors. And with this kind of fabric, again, I don't want to miscut. I hate to waste any by accidentally overcutting, if you know what I mean, go a little bit too far past. And then you can't use the next piece. So I'm going to continue to cut these out and put on some music for you guys again. Got the little triangles cut. This is all that I have left because, again, I'm using this as the back for this square as well. So I cut that off first. That way I can see what I have left to work with. There may be some of these blocks that I can't do that with, and I'll pull from my stash in a color that's similar if I have to. But for now, this is my plan, subject to change at any time. Let's see. So I also, when I was cutting these, thought it might be nice to, since it's a pinwheel, right, to go across from each other, pinwheel. So have the white flowers kind of opposite each other, the pink tones opposite each other. So I think that's what I'm going to do there. These are, I think, backup singers. They're not as important, but I'm going to end up with 2 that are the same. There goes my plan. Time to switch it up. Oh, I need to switch up the other one. Switch it up. Okay. No, you do not have to think this hard about it. I just do. So, here we go. There's my little guys. Oh. And then it's getting these glued on. I just use a glue stick. Which one is this? This is a Sue Daily. So is this turntable. I really like the turntable, especially for gluing, because you don't have to pick it up. You can just swipe, 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 and you're done. So that will be the next thing I do, is to get these little guys glued up. I like to deal with one thing at a time. So I'm going to do my colors, get them glued up, set them aside, and then I'll go back and do my background, which in my case I chose the white Tantalon, and so I'll need to cut that up, and I'll do the same thing. I will be measuring the size of these with you know, a generous border, so I can just cut squares. Cutting squares for these, even though they're not square shaped, are going to be easier, and then I can just dog ear that and be done. So I'll be doing that same process that I did for these, for the white fabric, and I'm going to glue these down. So I will get started on that. I'll put some music on so you can see what I'm doing, but you don't have to hear me. Over to my cutting station and used a bigger mat than the one I'm about to use, a ruler that I'm about to use on a bigger mat, just to get my strips. So I cut a 1.5 inch strip, I cut a 2-inch strip, and now I'm just going to subcut it. It's doubled, so as you know I need 4, so I get off the selvage edge there. And this is a Stripology Squared Mini. This is by Gudrun Erla from GE Designs, and this is awesome. Creative Grids. So that made that easy. There's 4 cuts for that. I need 4 more for one that we're going to dog ear. So 1.5 and 3. And we know we'll be working with small fiddly bits the entire time. So this will be used. I will put it in my project box. And for the triangles, I need 8. Alright, so I'm just going to do 2, and then let me move these. I'm going to do 2 and then cross cut them. So doing 2 inches on these guys. 2 and 4. This will go in project box. One of the things I think is really important with the block of the months, especially, and with a project this large and going for this long, is to keep everything together, keep it tidy, take that one extra step at the end and get things put back away so you're not in a panic when next month comes and you can't remember where stuff is or what you cut, or so reuse these baggies. You don't have to start with new Ziplocs. It's right here. If it came out of there, it'll fit back in there, except for the end product, right? I lifted up my blade. And then Liberty likes to do this always. See the one little thread hanging on. Yeah, just keeping yourself as organized as possible is really the key. Even though it takes, a minute or 2 when you're done, put everything back, put things away. It'll save you so much time the next time you pick your project up. So back to some really lovely music while I get these glue basted. Every once in a while you'll see I having to pull back. I'm not sure if you can see that, because it does a little double fold on me there, and it is important to take the time to straighten that out while you can. If we were working with traditional quilting cotton, I mean, that would really add some bulk to the seam. With Tanalon, I'm not worried about the bulk of the seam. I just really would like it as neat as possible. So that's why I'm taking a second to do it. It's easier to do it before the glue dries and while you still have your glue stick in your hand. If you glue based. I never learned how to, I'm self-taught, or I should say, who's self-taught anymore. I taught myself off of Google and YouTube, and I didn't learn how to thread based. I thought that would be too hard. So I glue based. Either one is perfectly fine. We'll have folks, we've got a group actually doing this all together. I don't know how many. I'll try to tell you next time if I can find out. I'm sure it's hundreds. With Duckadilly fabrics, we're doing this quilt all together as a block of the month. And if you're doing it, if you're watching this right now and you're doing this in the fall start for this project, please shout out down below in the comments. Let me know who you are. I know Liba Austin and Helen Hicks and Kimberly Bentley at least watched my unboxing. I'm not sure if they subscribed, but they're on the Facebook page with me, and it's nice to have a community, especially when you're doing a project like this that's going to take so long. And when you run into hiccups or trying to figure something out, to have a group that can chime in and say, hey, this is how I did it, or, you know, try this. I'm doing this. I'm not doing this as a tutorial by any means. I am no expert, but I happen to document and video myself mostly for my mom's benefit. I made a quilt coat for her benefit because I made it from a quilt that my great-grandmother gave me for my birth. And that sounds like horrifying, doesn't it? But that quilt had been sitting in the closet unused for, don't want to give away how old I am, but it, you know, more than 30 years. And again, unused. It had tons of stains, rips, you know how it is. So I took it out one day and thought, man, I feel bad not using this, and decided to turn it into a quilt coat. So I documented myself doing that primarily so, you know, my mom could see that I was doing something with it, and I do wear it. I get lots of compliments, and I'm glad I did it because of that. You know, now it's getting used frequently, and quilt coats are back in fashion right now. And yeah, so I had documented that, and then I decided, I kind of like doing that. And so I started this little YouTube channel. It's the only reason for me videoing this at all, is because I decided to start documenting some of that, and I really did it not only for that, but then I thought my kids might enjoy watching these sometime. So 5 kids, they're all adults now. The last one just turned 18 last month. So yeah, I'm hesitating here because I need to think. I haven't ever done this shape before, so I think I'm trying to decide which way to baste it. I think I'm going to try this. Can always undo it if it's not feeling right. And then in, yeah, and then down. Notice I didn't cut that dog ear. I totally can. I will, for one. I'm not convinced that's going to matter, but to reduce any extra bulk, again, I can't imagine this Liberty getting bulky. That would be pretty surprising, but I'm not sure if this is the right way to baste it, but that's how I'm going to baste it, this shape. So I think as long as you're consistent, that's the best you can do. I think that'll be fine. I'm going to do that. Yeah, so I started this little channel, and I've made a few little shorts, and it's been fun kind of getting the family involved, and got a lot of very savvy kids who are happy to tell me what to do. Turnabout. But yeah. So not to be a tutorial at all. Want to show you also when I'm done the thread I'm using for this. In case you are making this, I can tell you I'm using Aurifil 50 weight for my project. You know, you use whatever you want to use, but I do try to color match. And so what I'll be doing is, anytime I'm on a seam with this darker fabric that we have for this block, I will use the darker thread, and then when it's, you know, on a lighter seam, I'll just use a white. But I'll show you the color and what the color number is in case you're interested in trying to color match as well. You absolutely do not have to. 100% optional. I know, I just do it because I've been doing it on the project that I'll show you here at the end. I've been doing a block of the month with pink door fabrics on a Tula Pink project called Hide and Seek, and I'll show you some of those blocks. And because of that, I did the option where they would send the thread that matched. So I'm really used to using thread matching throughout, so I'll be doing that. And as a result, I have a little bit of a stash of thread. Maybe I'll throw a picture of that in here too. Oh, I did backwards. Talk about being consistent and then don't do it. So I'll show you that fabric or that thread, and you can see how well it matches the fabric and decide what you want to do. Just about done with this last one, and that's as far as this video is going to go. I will do another video on getting this sewn up, but for now I will finish this off, get all my pieces and parts in that little bag, and then threw it directly on myself. Okay, so this is going in the bag. I did trim the dog ears, which is fine. And then remember, I've got this. So the thread that I thought matched really well, I'll try to get, I'll get a picture if I don't get a good, is this one right here. So I think that'll work really nicely. And it is an Aurifil 50. I know you can get these in any weight that you prefer, but this is 2568 Aurifil. So that's what I'll be using along with white. And yeah, let's move the camera and I'll show you the project that I have put to the side just so I could prep. I put it to the side only for prep. I'm gonna finish it before I sew this one, which is why this will be a little sub video, but I gotta put my backing in here as well. I don't want to lose that or forget, because when I'm done piecing, I will cut the batting or wadding and put the backing on, and I'll clip that together. So, and actually I should throw the thread in too, so I don't have to run around finding that. All right, I will switch to another view and show you the project I have on pause to get this one cut, but it feels good to have one block ready to go so I can start sewing. All right, I'm so excited to have one Dear Jane prepped and ready to sew. I can't wait. I don't sew at my workstation when I hand sew. I hand sew usually at night up on my little recliner, so that'll be a different view when I get to that. But the project I set down, this is my year of finish what I started. So the reason, you know, because that's a brand new shiny thing. And I've been looking at this for a while. So why not start the brand new shiny thing, which I did. But that's as far as I'm going. I'm gonna hold myself accountable and finish this. But these are really cute and I thought I'd show you. Why do I fussy cut? Because we get to have cool little patterns. This is all Tula pink. If you're familiar with Tula, this is one of her parrots. Gosh, it's just fun. I cut apart a turtle only to piece it back together. That's, you know, if you know, you know. Let's see what else I have. Made some cool patterns out of. So fussy cutting can give you a really cool result of, sorry, this is just this month's pieces that I had to get done, and I really am almost done, but I gotta, again, holding myself accountable here. Those are set, those pieces are done. It's these guys that I need to, these are the 10-point stars. I need to finish doing their outer rings. There's one guy, another one, and my last one. So I need to, I've got to finish them. I'm committed to do, I'm not putting a needle to Dear Jane till these are finished, which that's probably 2 nights worth. I've got 2 rounds to do on the 10-pound pointer, so it's a few. But anyway, thanks for hanging with me. I'm really excited about finishing this project up and then moving on to Dear Jane, because she is so pretty. She's so pretty. I hope you hang with me for the journey. And again, not a tutorial, but I'll show you what I do and maybe you pick up a tip or two. So we'll catch you later. Thanks.